Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dr. Martin. I want to welcome you and thank you for showing up for this Eat Your Lunch and Pack a Lunch Gonzaga program. Happens weekly the rest of the year on mostly Mondays, but when we don't have school on Monday, it will be on Tuesday. By now, you've been invited by our last leaders to introduce yourself and why you're here. By the way, I wanted to thank those last leaders. They've been working long and hard behind the scenes and in front, and they will guide and lead you through this session. If you're interested in helping out with these as a last leader, please approach Mr. Byer. Okay, so this time is going to be divided into 3 different times. We're going to eat, and hopefully when we're eating, we're also going to learn. Second, we're going to pack. We're going to put some good tunes on and hopefully pack 100 lunches during this time period. And lastly, at the end, we will reflect and pray like we always do at Loyola. So without further ado, I wanted to give you the questions that we're going to reflect on at the end so that you can think about them while we are having the experience itself. So first question, we want you to hold on to one moment about what happened, either an insight you gained, a moment that you had. So think about that. What's one moment that you want to hold on to from this experience as you're going through it? Second, we want you to think about a little deeper. So not only what happened, but so what? Why does this matter, right? How does this experience, given a little of your lunchtime to do something good with good people, matter to you? Thirdly, now what? Will this experience itself drive you to do more, to learn more, to come back, to do it again, or even best, to go into the community and have direct service with our partners where this is going to? And I'm going to show you a list of those in just a minute here of where all this food is going. But think about those questions, and we'll have a few minutes at the end to jot down and share those in a small group. Okay, so as you guys know, hunger is really at the issue of why we're packing lunches and giving lunches out. And it's not just hunger, but really this concept of food insecurity. By the way, on the left and right, starting with A Just Harvest, Catholic Charities, Care for Real, SALT up in Highland Park, and the Greater Chicago Food Depository, all of these at one time or another may be beneficiaries of the work that you're going to be doing here now. Okay, for food insecurity, I'm going to play this video. It's about 4.5 minutes, so listen carefully. Please take away 1 or 2 points of information that you want to hold on to and share in a small group afterwards. 3 things to think about, though. One is this question of affordability. Things have cost a lot more. Housing, food, energy, all of those costs have gone up. Secondly, this question of equity they talk about, that has a lot to do with wages. Wages have not caught up with the cost of making a living. So oftentimes the people that go to food depositories and to food, soup kitchens, they're not necessarily homeless. In fact, few are. Most of them are just what is called food insecure. Thirdly, the groups that are especially impacted are those of social disadvantage. So people of color, people with disabilities, those on the margin in our society. So pay attention to that. Without further ado, thank you so much again for coming, and we're going to enjoy this time with you.
The U.S. is one of the wealthiest nations in the world. It ranks first based on total GDP and 7th based on GDP per capita. Yet when it comes to food security, America ranks 22nd among developed countries.
People are working hard every day in this country to bring food home for themselves and their families. But right now in the United States, we are facing a hunger crisis.
33.8 million Americans didn't have adequate access to food, according to the latest report from the USDA. That's 13.5 million, or 10.2% of all U.S. households in 2021.
I'd literally stand on 2nd Avenue at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd get off the subway and go around behind the restaurants and wait for the bakeries to deliver bread. When you're that hungry to steal bread from the restaurants behind the stores, you're hungry.
Spending on food assistance programs has grown exponentially, reaching a record of $182.5 billion in 2021. But food insecurity has only improved slightly since 2001. while the number of people experiencing very low food security grew slightly during the same period.
We see times when the economy is doing better, it improves. But we haven't seen major movements on the metric, I would say.
The latest research from the Bread Institute in 2014 says the U.S. has lost almost $5.5 billion due to lost productivity caused by hunger.
It's much less expensive to feed you than it is many other of our societal challenges. Let's start with food, because the impact on the system is incredibly expensive and will live on for generations.
So why are so many Americans still hungry? And what can be done to solve it? Food prices soared to record heights in 2022, pressuring households already in a pinch. Annual food-at-home prices climbed by 11.4% in 2022, compared to the year prior.
Food inflation, as we've seen during the pandemic, has gone up, driven in large part by supply chain disruptions and shortages of food supply during the pandemic.
Several experts point to income as the major cause behind food insecurity in America.
Issues of affordability and equity are the two driving forces across the United States. You can be working, yet you still need help. And so the wages are not carrying Americans far enough.
The resources they have are so strained that paying the light bill, paying for childcare, gas to get to work is trading off against food.
The financial pressure from buying food gets higher the less you make. In 2021, the bottom 20% of households with the lowest income spent 30.6% of what they made on food, compared to just 7.6% for households in the highest income quintile. It's a problem that Gregory Bruce, a bow tie maker in Harlem, experiences every day.
I have actually 88 cents in my bank account right now. June was not a good bow tie month. I'm not crying, but I still come here every afternoon and get my dinner, which I don't eat until 7 o'clock. The food bank is open 5 days a week, generally. Saturday and Sunday, there's no food available. That's when it hits you.
Meanwhile, nearly a quarter of households that include a working adult with a disability were food insecure, compared to just 7% of households without disabilities.
The leading predictor of food insecurity in the United States is disability status, by far, especially mental health challenges.
Socially disadvantaged individuals are the ones most heavily impacted by food insecurity. Take communities of color, for example. Nearly 1 in 5 Black households and 16.2% of Hispanic households suffered from food insecurity in 2021, compared to just 10.2% of non-Hispanic minority households and 7% of white households.
Income's important, but the more important thing is the constraints that especially those who are most vulnerable amongst us are facing.
If economic opportunity isn't equally shared, which it isn't yet in our country, that means that it's going to have the same impact on food insecurity. And it's a problem we need to address.
Okay, hopefully you found a lot of good information in that video, but we're asking you just to hold on to one thing and then to turn to your neighbor and share that one thing and listen about that. The last leaders will facilitate a little bit of sharing before we go on to the packing. Before I end this, I wanted to thank the Loyola Academy Adult Gonzaga Lunch team, in particular of Mrs. Kelly, Mr. Brandstrader, Mr. Byer, Mrs. Kearney Alwyn, and Mrs. Crine.